Ever feel like you've seen every corner of cinema? Think again. Today, we're diving headfirst into a shadowy realm of forgotten films. These are the 15 occult detective movies from the 1970s that flew under the radar. Each one delivers a sharp fusion of noir style, supernatural intrigue, and mind-bending mysteries. Get ready to meet the occult detectives who never received the recognition they deserved. Let's awaken these lost cinematic treasures. Imagine a weary, world-weary journalist named David Norliss, who embarks on an investigation that defies belief, documenting his journey through a series of mysterious audio recordings. This is the essence of the Norliss Tapes, a made-for-TV gem directed by Dan Curtis, the visionary behind Dark Shadows. In this chilling narrative, Roy Thins portrays Norliss with a blend of cool skepticism as he is tasked with investigating a widow's extraordinary claim that her late husband has returned from the dead. What begins as a straightforward inquiry soon spirals into a haunting confrontation with ancient evil and the boundaries between life and death. Dan Curtis masterfully intertwines Gothic horror with hard-nosed detective work, establishing a blueprint that would define the genre. Thins grounds the supernatural with a compelling authenticity, while Angie Dickinson lends gravitas as the vulnerable widow caught in peril. Though originally intended as a TV pilot, the film's eerie atmosphere and suspenseful cliffhanger left audiences eager for more, making the fact that it never evolved into a series all the more poignant. Despite being initially dismissed by critics for its unusual approach, the Norliss Tapes found new life through late-night syndication, earning cult acclaim among horror enthusiasts. Its brooding tone, groundbreaking format, and early echoes of what would become the X-Files vibe ensure this film remains a haunting classic that few have truly discovered. Are you ready to feel the chill? Because this is just the beginning of our journey into forgotten occult detective tales. Step into the gritty underbelly of Las Vegas with The Nightstalker, a 1972 TV movie that predates iconic supernatural heroes like Buffy and Constantine. Here we follow Carl Kolchak, a sharp-witted and stubborn reporter brought to life by Darren McGavin, who finds himself unraveling a horrifying mystery, a string of bizarre murders pointing to a real vampire. Produced by horror innovator Dan Curtis and written by Richard Matheson, The Nightstalker electrified audiences with its blend of noir tension and supernatural thrills. Set against the neon-lit, shadow-drenched streets of Vegas, the film balances razor-sharp wit with creeping dread. McGavin channels the tough guy charisma of classic film noir heroes, infusing his character with skepticism and bravado as he teeters between rational investigation and raw terror. Simon Oakland adds a layer of comic relief as Kolchak's beleaguered editor, creating a dynamic duo that keeps the narrative engaging. Under director John Llewellyn Moxey's careful eye, every frame pulses with noir shadows and neon menace, immersing viewers in a world where the supernatural lurks just beyond the surface. While The Nightstalker was a gamble for ABC, it paid off handsomely, becoming the year's highest-rated TV film with an impressive 33.2 national audience share. Critics praised its sharp script and relentless pacing, but the film's true legacy lies in giving birth to Carl Kolchak, the Nightstalker, whose adventures paved the way for cult phenomena such as the X-Files. Step into a shadowy realm where the boundaries between high society and dark ritual blur, and where music itself becomes an instrument of the devil's will. The Mephisto Waltz, directed by Paul Winos, thrusts us into the haunting tale of Miles Clarkson, portrayed by Alan Alda in a rare venture into horror. Once a failed pianist, Miles finds an unlikely ally in a reclusive maestro, only to be ensnared in a sinister web of sorcery and soul exchanges. Jacqueline Bisset captivates as Miles's skeptical wife, gradually peeling back the layers of mystery that cloak their sudden success. Adapted from Fred Mustard Stewart's novel, the screenplay offers a surreal journey dense with occult symbolism and psychological unease. Winos masterfully amplifies the eerie mood through dreamlike visuals, mirrors reflecting hidden truths, shadows that twist and shimmer, and haunting piano melodies that linger. A fascinating tidbit: the film's mesmerizing musical sequences draw inspiration from real accounts of composers dabbling in mystical arts. While Mephisto Waltz achieved only modest box office returns, edging just over $1 million, it cultivated a devoted audience through late-night screenings and bootleg VHS circulation. Critics were split. Some admired its elegance and ambition. Others found its strangeness off-putting. In hindsight, the Mephisto Waltz stands as an exquisitely crafted, mind-altering gem, beckoning fans of Baroque chills and psychological horror alike. If you're in the mood for occult drama infused with high society intrigue, look no further than The Devil's Daughter, released in 1973. Directed by Janet Swark, this made-for-TV thriller features Belinda Montgomery as Diane Shaw, a young woman who suddenly inherits a mysterious fortune, only to find herself targeted by a sinister, satanic cult. The film's cast shines, with Shelley Winters delivering an intense performance as the ominous Lilith Malone, and Robert Foxworth adding depth as Diane's enigmatic love interest. Swark, who would later gain acclaim for directing Jaws 2 and Somewhere in Time, skillfully transforms the suburban settings into arenas of creeping paranoia and hidden menace. Notably, the production was hurriedly shot in just a few weeks to capitalize on the occult craze sparked by Rosemary's Baby. Although the movie garnered strong ratings, critics at the time dismissed it as just another devil-themed flick, causing it to slip into obscurity. However, horror enthusiasts have since revived The Devil's Daughter through midnight screenings and online discussions. Today, it has earned a cult following, beloved for its melodramatic set pieces and a gripping twist-filled finale. If you appreciate 70s melodrama blended with chilling supernatural suspense, this film is a must-watch entry in the occult detective genre. Number 5. The Spell, 1977. Not all detectives wear trench coats. Sometimes, they're desperate mothers seeking truth and justice. Such is the case in The Spell, a quietly eerie TV movie directed by Lee Phillips. The story centers on Rita, a bullied teenager whose newfound supernatural powers lead her to enact revenge on those who torment her. Susan Myers delivers a compelling performance as Rita, while Lee Grant portrays her mother, who gradually unravels the terrifying mystery behind her daughter's abilities. The film features a notable ensemble of 1970s television talents, including an early appearance by Helen Hunt and James Olsen as Rita's troubled father. Clearly inspired by the success of Carrie, The Spell carves out its own niche within domestic horror, blending small-town mystery with psychological suspense. Phillips crafts a slow-burning tension filled with creaking floors, unexplained accidents, and an ever-growing sense of dread. Production was notably fraught, as network censors demanded cuts to some of the film's more intense scenes, resulting in a softened release. However, dedicated horror fans circulated uncut versions via bootleg tapes, ensuring The Spell's reputation endured. Initially dismissed by critics as a mere imitation, the film has since been rediscovered and appreciated for its sharp psychological twists and razor-edge tension. Ready to continue our journey into the world of occult detectives? Because the next film promises even stranger mysteries. Now, let's dive into Haunts of the Very Rich, a captivating blend of existential dread and supernatural mystery from 1972. Directed by Paul Winos, this film features a stellar cast including Lloyd Bridges, Cloris Leachman, and Ed Asner. The story centers on a group of wealthy vacationers who arrive at a remote tropical resort, only to find themselves trapped by a relentless storm, haunted by increasingly strange and unexplainable events. What sets Haunts of the Very Rich apart is its dreamlike pacing paired with profound philosophical undertones. Alongside Lloyd Bridges and Cloris Leachman, performers like Anne Francis and Donna Mills bring to life characters caught between desperation and denial, as the narrative probes deep questions about life, death, and damnation without offering easy answers. Produced as an ABC Movie of the Week on a tight 14-day schedule and a modest budget, the film's ambiguous ending ignited debates among viewers for years. Is the story unfolding in purgatory, hell, or perhaps a twisted psychological torment? While critics initially dismissed its slow tempo, time has treated Haunts of the Very Rich kindly, elevating it to the status of an allegorical masterpiece steeped in haunting atmosphere. Are you beginning to sense a pattern? The 1970s truly were a treasure trove of existential fear intertwined with supernatural detective tales. Let's continue unearthing these forgotten gems. Let's delve into The Cat Creature from 1973, a captivating TV occult detective thriller penned by legendary horror writer Robert Bloch, famed for Psycho. Directed by Curtis Harrington, this film follows a scholarly investigator portrayed by Meredith Baxter, who is on the trail of a series of murders linked to a stolen Egyptian amulet and the curse of an ancient cat goddess. The cast features the remarkable Gail Sargent, an Oscar winner from the 1940s, making a memorable return as the mysterious Mrs. Finch. Although the production faced considerable challenges, including network demands for reshoots, budget cuts, and a last-minute alteration of the original ending, Harrington managed to weave a delightfully campy yet eerie narrative infused with occult symbolism. Set against the fog-shrouded nights of Los Angeles, the atmosphere brims with suspense and a touch of Gothic unease, not to mention the ominous presence of a killer cat. Initially, critics dismissed The Cat Creature as gimmicky, yet horror aficionados embraced its unique blend of scholarly investigation and supernatural horror. Today, it stands as an essential watch for anyone who relishes detective stories tinged with ancient curses and Gothic camp. Ready to uncover more hidden gems? Let's continue the journey. Number 8 on our list is Scream of the Wolf from 1974, a classic that redefines the cult detective genre with a howling twist. This suspenseful thriller centers on Peter Graves as a weary writer who teams up with a seasoned former hunter to track down a mysterious beast terrorizing a remote community. As the tension mounts and bodies begin to fall, the story cleverly blurs the lines between supernatural and human menace, leaving audiences questioning who, or what, the true predator really is. Directed by Dan Curtis and penned by Richard Matheson, Scream of the Wolf is a taut psychological thriller that masterfully sustains suspense right up to its jaw-dropping climax. Despite being produced on a tight budget for ABC and filmed mostly at night to save costs, the film punches well above its weight, cultivating a dedicated cult following over the years, especially amongst werewolf aficionados. Its ambiguous ending and moody, atmospheric tone invite ongoing debate among fans, making Scream of the Wolf a must-see gem for enthusiasts of 1970s horror noir and occult detective tales. Are you brave enough to join the hunt, or will this cinematic beast fade back into the fog of forgotten history? Let's take a slight detour with Fear No Evil, which first premiered in late 1969 but resonated heavily through the 1970s occult surge. Directed by Paul Winos, this film stars the captivating Louis Jordan as Dr. David Searle, a psychologist drawn into supernatural cases that blend eerie phenomena with deep psychological horror. When a patient tragically dies in a haunted mirror, Searle confronts not only ghosts, but the very essence of evil itself. The supporting cast, including Carol O'Connor and Linda DeGeorge, anchors the story, grounding its extraordinary events in believable performances. Conceived as the pilot for a series titled Bedelled, which never came to fruition, Fear No Evil distinguished itself with clever effects and a brisk, intelligent script that exceeded typical television fare of its time. Although it did not spawn a franchise, the film earned critical acclaim for its cerebral approach to horror and occult investigation. Over the years, it has become a cherished collector's item among fans who appreciate its unique fusion of Freudian analysis and supernatural dread. Who would have thought that Freud could be so haunting? Number 10, The Possessed, 1977. Imagine a haunted Catholic girls' school sudden fiery deaths, and a priest with a shadowed past drawn into the heart of the mystery. That's the premise of The Possessed, directed by Jerry Thorpe. James Ferrantino stars as Kevin Leahy, an ex-priest called upon to investigate the string of spontaneous combustions that have left the school in turmoil. Unlike a typical exorcist tale, Leahy approaches the case with the keen logic and intuition of a seasoned detective, piecing together clues hidden beneath the Gothic shadows. Alongside Ferrantino, the cast includes Joan Hackett, Duanberry, and a young Parker Stevenson, all delivering performances steeped in suspicion and mounting dread. The film draws inspiration from The Exorcist, but carves its own niche by mixing supernatural horror with a detective's methodical pursuit. Shot under tight schedules and modest budgets, The Possessed initially slipped under the radar at the box office. However, its haunting visuals, burnt corridors echoing secrets, and shocking set pieces have earned it a passionate following among horror collectors. Today, it's recognized as a forgotten pioneer of modern supernatural investigation stories, a testament to the dark corridors where occult and mystery entwine. Number 11. The Norwood Gorgon, 1972. Prepare for one of the most elusive entries in occult detective cinema. The Norwood Gorgon is a British television film that remains shrouded in mystery, rare and difficult to find, yet unquestionably worth the effort. Centered on Inspector George Norwood, a skeptical Scotland Yard detective, the story plunges him into a chilling investigation of a series of gruesome murders connected to a secretive cult devoted to the myth of Medusa. Directed by acclaimed genre specialist Alan Gibson, known for Dracula AD 1972, the film masterfully fuses the gritty realism of police procedural drama with the uncanny dread of Lovecraftian horror. Judy Baylor delivers a mesmerizing performance portraying the enigmatic cult priestess, while the fog-draped streets of London provide an atmospheric backdrop that thickens the tension. Filmed in just 3 weeks and featuring a cast peppered with Hammer horror veterans, the Norwood Gorgon barely registered with critics upon release. Nonetheless, genre aficionados and VHS collectors have since elevated the film to cult status, captivated by its unique melding of ancient mythology and 1970s detective grit. For fans craving an occult detective story with a distinctly British flair, this rare gem is an absolute must-watch. Are you ready to add the Norwood Gorgon to your nocturnal viewing list? Number 12 on our list is Dead of Night, a 1977 American TV anthology that weaves together 3 chilling tales, with a particularly memorable occult detective story nestled in the middle segment titled Bobby. Directed by Dan Curtis, this segment tells the haunting story of a grieving mother who turns to black magic in a desperate attempt to bring her son back from the dead. However, her actions unleash a terrifying force that must be investigated and contained before it spirals beyond control. The anthology format allows Dead of Night to explore various horror subgenres, but Bobby stands out for its intense emotional weight and razor-sharp storytelling. Joan Hackett delivers a powerful performance as the tormented mother, while Lee H. Montgomery's portrayal of her son adds depth to the eerie narrative. The screenplay, crafted by Richard Matheson, balances chilling supernatural elements with gut-wrenching human drama. Production faced notable challenges, from weather delays to costly reshoots, yet through it all, Curtis shaped a moody, atmospheric piece rife with dread. While critics at the time found the film uneven overall, they widely praised the gripping second segment for its intensity and impact. Over the years, Dead of Night has ascended to cult status among horror aficionados, especially those who yearn for occult detective stories that are brief, sharp, and hauntingly memorable. If you're craving supernatural mysteries wrapped in strong performances and eerie narratives, this anthology and its centerpiece, Bobby, is a must-watch. Number 13 on our list takes us to the heart of British television's Gothic horror renaissance with The Ashtree, released in 1975. This chilling adaptation of an M.R. James tale was part of the BBC's celebrated A Ghost Story for Christmas series. The story centers on Sir Richard Fell, an investigator who inherits an ancient estate cursed by the restless spirit of a witch and her demonic familiars. Directed by Lawrence Gordon Clark, the film masterfully crafts an atmosphere thick with creeping dread. Imagine mist-laden moors and flickering candlelight in shadowed corridors. The cast is small but memorable, featuring Barbara Ewing as the haunting spectral antagonist and Ian Bannon bringing a touch of 70s charm. Filmed on a tight budget in Suffolk, the Ashtree's eerie ambience and subtly ambiguous horrors have earned it a devoted following over the years. At the time of its release, British critics lauded the film's literary origins, but lamented its lack of conventional jump scares. Today, however, the Ashtree is recognized as a masterclass in atmospheric horror, essential viewing for anyone drawn to occult detective stories steeped in English folklore. Its quiet, unsettling tone sets it apart, a true gem in the realm of forgotten supernatural mysteries. Imagine a fusion of James Bond's suave detective flair and Aleister Crowley's mystic allure. That's the essence of Spectre, a 1977 occult detective adventure crafted by none other than Gene Roddenberry, the visionary behind Star Trek. The film stars Robert Culp as William Sebastian, a sharp, Holmes-like detective, accompanied by his trusty Watson-esque partner, Dr. Hamilton. Together, they navigate a labyrinth of satanic rituals and secret societies set against the vibrant backdrop of swinging London. Spectre was envisioned as a pilot for a groundbreaking TV series, aiming to blend police procedural drama with ritual magic and shadowy occult iconography. Directed by Clive Donner, the film boasts lavish international locations, seductive seance scenes, and a rich tapestry of supernatural symbolism. The supporting cast shines within Belle and a young John Hurt, adding layers of intrigue and charisma. Despite its high production values and ambitious concept, Spectre struggled to find its audience, floundering in the ratings and never advancing to series. Critics were perplexed by its tonal shifts, but fans have since embraced its unique combination of dry British wit and Gothic excess. Today, Spectre holds a cult status among those who appreciate detectives wrapped in ritual magic and sprinkled with enigmatic humor. We conclude our occult detective exploration with Full Circle, 1977, a British-Canadian hidden treasure also known as The Haunting of Julia. Directed by Richard Lorraine, the film features a hauntingly powerful performance by Mia Farrow as Julia Lofting, a grieving mother who seeks solace in a Victorian house, only to become entangled in spectral secrets and supernatural mysteries. Supported by Tom Kite and Keir Dullea, the chilling screenplay, adapted from Peter Straub's novel, delivers a deeply melancholic and psychological tale. Despite production setbacks and budget challenges, Farrow's emotionally raw portrayal anchors the story, lending subtlety and depth to the unfolding terror. Initially overshadowed by more sensational horror releases, Full Circle gained recognition through positive word of mouth and critical reappraisal over the years. Today, it is celebrated for its understated scares, emotional resonance, and poetic use of London's fog-laden streets, making it a fitting and evocative closing chapter to this journey through forgotten occult detective cinema, exploring themes of loss, the excavation of the past, and the profound detective work within oneself. What a remarkable journey we've taken through the realms of shadowed folklore and eerie investigations. We've uncovered haunted manuscripts, pursued cursed relics, and unraveled supernatural mysteries that spanned across continents. These 15 films represent only a small portion of the hidden treasures that lie buried in the forgotten corners of 1970s cinema. Each one offers a unique glimpse into the intricate blend of noir, mysticism, and detective intrigue that define the occult detective genre. So, whether you're seeking atmospheric dread, supernatural puzzles, or enigmatic protagonists, these lost classics collectively illuminate a world seldom explored but deeply captivating. The shadows hold many more secrets, waiting patiently for the next curious soul to bring them into the light. Which of these forgotten occult detective films from the 1970s left you spellbound? Did you discover a hidden favorite or rekindle a love for an old classic? Share your thoughts and picks in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the shadowy world of occult cinema, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Movieverse. Hit the notification bell so you never miss our next adventure into forgotten cinematic treasures. Keep exploring, keep watching, and remember, there's always another mystery lurking just beyond the frame.